everybody, good morning. Good morning, good Monday morning. It is day 70 of spiritual healthcare. Here we go, day 70. That's amazing. Good morning to all of you. Thank you guys for keeping yourselves busy. Yesterday, well, I had a day off to recharge and get some stuff done and whatnot. I know some of you guys binged spiritual healthcare yesterday. Thank you so much. Every view of that playlist really helps as well. It helps to get it out there. The YouTube algorithms and stuff like that is like, I'm still learning them. It's new for me, but thank you guys for all of that. Good morning, Sarah and Kaz and Laura and Jay and Dan and Patricia. Nice to see everybody. Hello guys. Good morning. It is good to see all of you. Day 70. And you guys sent in some amazing questions yesterday, and I'm looking forward to grabbing them throughout this week, moving into this week, because there was a whole bunch that came in. And just they were awesome. They were really good. Lots about water and intention, and all said frequencies and all sorts of stuff. Today I want to start with a question from Sally, who sent in a really interesting one about the current issue of Haunted Magazine. So I'm gonna start with that one today, and also this morning I want to get into probably one of the most important universal laws, which I see so frequently as a catalyst for paranormal phenomena, as well as just issues that crop up within our experience that I think are some of the most deepest, and that is the law of forgiveness. We're going to get into that as well. This is going to be really good. So I'm excited about this one because it is something, as I say, that I think affects so many people. We struggle with this as people because we have egos, and egos want to, see the lamentation of our women and enemies, and whatever the quote from, what I'm talking about, the damn quote from Conan the Barbarian. But yeah, we want to hear the apology. We want to see we want to see the person repent to us and whatever. And we it's not always a possibility. So we have to talk about what it is that forgiveness is. How do we do it, and how does it bleed into our experience in the paranormal and all of these things? So we're going to talk about that today also. I hope you guys had a great Sunday. I had a very interesting Sunday. I actually ended up going and replacing some of my old luggage and things like that as well, because my luggage on my last flight got all ripped up. So I ended up doing that, and I got a whole bunch of things done. And whatnot, and it was just nice to get outside, and it's beautiful outside today. I don't know what it is with you guys, but it's really nice outside this morning. And tomorrow morning, tomorrow just in general, I'm stoked because Galen is turning, my little snake. For those of you guys who don't know Galen, my ball python. Hold on, this is my ball python. This is him right here. There we go. There's Galen. He is turning 16 tomorrow. He is turning 16. It is his sweet 16 birthday tomorrow. So that's gonna be fun. So we've been present wrapping and all of that kind of thing as well. So he's excited. He's excited. He's not seen his bundle of presents over in the corner there yet. But I'm hoping that we can go to his park and because he likes to hang around in this one park and whatever. So that's the plan. But yeah, so 16 tomorrow. So that's exciting news as well. But I wanted to start off this morning with Sally's question. She came with a really good one, and I thought I had to share it with you guys because I think it's a really important one, and it hits close to home for me as well, because I know a very dear friend of mine has MS as well. So Sally's here. Perfect. So her question was a really good one. She says, do you think Jack Osborne is putting himself in danger conducting paranormal investigations since he has MS? And I thought this was great. This was a great question. I had to share it with you guys because I've got my big sister. She's not a blood sister, but she's my big sister. She lives in Alabama, and she has MS as well, and she is got an amazing ability mediumship wise. She's very intuitive, super smart lady. She's an attorney down in Alabama, and yeah, really just amazing person. And she's had some very interesting experiences over the years. She was diagnosed with MS not that long ago. It was a couple of years ago now. And what's been interesting, I think, in her journey has been the relationship between, you know, her stress, her upset, you know, how it affects her symptoms, how it affects, you know, how she moves through the world, because for those of you guys who aren't familiar with MS, it's multiple sclerosis, and it's basically a degenerative disorder where you end up, you know, you start to lose muscle function. There's a bunch of symptoms, very strange symptoms that come with it. And so she'll have sudden falls and things like that, or you know, at one point she had an incident where her heart just decided to stop. It just quit. And they put her in the ambulance and they revived her and they brought her back. So MS, it comes with a bunch of really, really weird symptoms. It's not just, you know, being in a wheelchair and losing function that way. So I think when it comes to MS and any sort of disorder like this and the paranormal, I think things like this make you so hyper aware of what you are having going on in your experience. You start to manage your experiences different. So, you know, when it comes to doing investigations and things like that, I think the first aspect of you know, dealing with a chronic illness and an investigation is just, number one, the safety of it right off the bat. You know, there's places sometimes that, you know, we're asked to go and take a look at that might not be completely structurally sound. You know, or, you know, there's just elements of the place that make it maybe unhealthy and stuff like that we have to pay attention to. And I think when you've got something like a chronic illness and things like that, it's just heightened, right? It just becomes so much more heightened. So I think on a physical level, I think that's a problem. I think emotionally, you know, any sort of chronic illness is an indicator and a check-in. You know, it's a check-in. It's like, what's going on, you know, with me, that, you know, I have to pay attention and begin to manage, you know, what's going on within my vibration. So I think if you're not in tune with, you know, what's triggering the illness, how your emotions are playing into your symptoms, because they always do. You know, our emotions, our state of mind, what we're telling ourselves, that story, all of that end up playing a role into how we're you know, we're experiencing the disorder or the disease, and our frame of mind is super important. So do I think he's putting himself in danger? I think he's going to have to be very careful moving forward. I think if he is not paying attention to his internal dialogue, paying attention to his body, being focused and really checking in with himself, moving forward, I think he could run himself into problems. If nothing else, just, you know, as I say, going into one of these places, you know, and having a fall or having something like that happen, you know, it's something that he's going to have to pay attention to moving forward, in my opinion. Just saying. So today's law is a biggie. It's a biggie, and we might need 2 classes for this one because this is a tough one. And that is the law of forgiveness. And this one's interesting because people screw up the meaning of forgiveness. They really do. And they think that it's about making what the other person did, or what an incident that happened or an event that happened. They're thinking that it's about making it okay and giving that situation a pass. You know, over the weekend we had some just heartbreaking and tragic incidents of not only just violence, but pain and chaos and everything that's going on in the US right now, where we've got people who have been in pain for so long that have finally just had enough. And then you've got, of course, people that are taking advantage of that, and, you know, creating chaos on top of the chaos, and it's so difficult to watch no matter where you are in the world. But this is, I think, it's such an example of what happens when that pain goes unchecked, when it goes unchecked, when it goes unvalidated. And we have to take a hard look at not only ourselves, but how we are judging what is happening right now. Because, I've been going through Facebook and Twitter and all those things, and there's so many judgments that are coming up saying, how dare these people, do this or do that. And I mean, I don't condone violence or anything like that in any way, shape, or form, but we have to be able to look at it and take the judgment off of it and understand that anytime you're getting anger, you're getting an example of hurt, fear, or frustration. Something is going on underneath of it. That's what anger is, okay? So we have to start to take a look at that. So forgiveness is really something that you have to master. It's a craft. Okay? It's a craft. We have to master forgiveness. And this isn't really a non-physical thing, because so many times we think that, and we're told frequently over and over again that if if we're good, then some non-physical energy is going to forgive us. And I personally don't think that's the case at all. I don't think non-physical energy, whether you call it source or God or whatever that is, I don't think they hold us in judgment at all. This life is about joy. It knows our intention and that pure positive energy. It knows who we are, and I don't think we get blamed for getting thrown off track. I don't think that's the case at all. But we have to look and take a hard look at probably one of the most difficult parts of forgiveness, because it usually all comes back to this. And when I'm dealing with clients, I notice this frequently, and that is forgiving ourselves. Because we can work our way into forgiveness with other people. And as I say, it really isn't about other people at all. It's easy to turn around and point blame and point fingers and make it about someone else. But really the forgiveness has to come from who we are. I think Iyanla Vanzant put it best when she says this is really about forgiving love. Forgiving. It's giving love. And it's not about the other person. It really isn't, because you might be dealing with somebody who is, quite frankly, shouldn't be forgiven at all. You might be dealing with someone who, I mean, nothing they've done has, ever been acknowledged. They've never, they're not going to apologize to you. You might get on the phone with them and have a cyclical conversation. Anybody that has dealt with a narcissistic personality will have an understanding of this and what this looks like, because you'll never ever hear an apology from someone like that, ever. In their head, you were at fault. You were always the one that does something wrong. You are never going to get an apology from them. They are going to be constantly looking for you to apologize for what they did to you. So people like that, you're never going to get that closure from. And I think we have to understand that when we're looking at forgiveness, closure is really a misnomer. We're not going to get it from somebody else. We really do, at the end of the day, have to get it from ourselves. So this is where healing starts, okay? This is where healing anything starts. And when I'm dealing with clients who are especially dealing with negative entities, what I find very interesting is that there is usually a part of them in some area that has not forgiven or healed something. And the forgiveness part is a big deal. Whether it be, dealing with a terrible ex, or dealing with something their parents have done, or whatever it looks like for them, there's usually something at the core of that haunting that has to do with forgiveness. It's really interesting. We don't see cases of spirits, of human spirits and things like that, who are holding people in judgment of something that has happened to them. And we like to think that because it makes good television and it makes good stories and it makes good ghost, campfire stories where, these spirits want revenge and all of these different things. And we just don't see that. What we see when we look at the channels or information from these legitimate places like the Windbridge Institute and things like that, is that this pure positive energy has mastered forgiveness, and they've let it go. They've let this stuff go. What ends up holding us in that place, I always say that it's not the spirits that have unfinished business, it's the living. The living have the unfinished business. And it's our egos that often hang us up and say, don't you forget. Don't you forget what you did. Don't you forget what they did. If you hang on to it, then somehow you're paying a penance for it. it's really interesting, and it's the living that end up with the unfinished business. We don't see it from spirits and things like that. They're done with it. But it also holds us apart from the interactions that we usually want with our loved one, whoever that is, that's passed over. We hang on to the guilt, we hang on to the shame, and we don't let ourselves experience forgiveness. And sometimes this can be really hard. So, as I say, this is really where healing starts. And we have to begin to look at the broken places with absolutely no judgment, and figure out where the break is bleeding, and have the courage enough to say, I forgive myself. And this sometimes seems very counterintuitive to people, because a lot of individuals, they go, yes, but this other person did to me this thing. But we have to be able to understand that forgiveness comes with owning our own emotions. It's owning our own feelings. We can't control what has gone on or what that other person has done. We really can't. But we can turn around and start to forgive ourselves for the guilt and the emotion that comes with the negative feelings towards whatever has gone on. I forgive myself for being angry at my grandfather. I forgive myself for being frustrated and holding myself apart from the good of all that is available to me in non-physical. I forgive myself for blaming myself for hurting. I forgive myself. And start to work it that way. So many people, instead of fixing the bleed, start to do pain management. We do pain management, and we do this as people all the time. And this is often, what's interesting is this will become the catalyst sometimes for those negative hauntings. And this is where things get very interesting, is that when people begin to do pain management, which means stuffing it somewhere, it begins to bleed into our experience. And of course, for me in the field, it often shows up as a negative thought form, negative manifestation of, an entity or something like that that's representative of that pain, whatever's being stuffed. But it can still show up as illness. It can still show up as, an event in your experience that might look the same, or it might have the same energy or feeling, and it's replaying itself. It might show up in all of these different ways. Everybody's different. And then we start to do pain management. We stuff it down, we go drink, we go eat, we go, have too much sex, whatever it is. We do this out of disconnection, trying to fill a hole that the only thing that really is needed at that point is to be able to say, hold up, be able to sit in that space, sit in that emotion and say, wait a minute. We have to be able to, I forgive myself. I forgive myself for holding myself apart from that well-being. I forgive myself for not knowing what I know now. And it's really, really interesting. And Lori is saying it's easy to forgive someone who is asking for forgiveness. The trick is forgiving someone who doesn't want, need, or deserve it. Yes, absolutely. And the people that will see you as the perpetrator. There's those people too, there was a great meme that was going around Facebook for a little while, and I thought this was so good. And it had to do with the fact that, somebody is on the therapist couch because of you. Somebody somewhere is on the therapist couch because of you. And it's funny because it's true, and we have to be able to take a hard look at not only our own behavior, because sometimes the forgiveness, and this is where things can get really tricky, is it might be something that you did wrong and can't let go of. And sometimes that can be something really egregious. Sometimes it can be something that, maybe is a little bit on the lighter side, but we have to be able to at least take a hard look at what it is that has been given to us in these situations. When we can acknowledge what we've been given, sometimes it's a second chance. Sometimes it's the ability to do something over again. This is one thing that I've been learning over the last number of weeks, well, actually the last year or so, but where I have been given this opportunity to do it different. I have been given a second opportunity to do this again. And I've been seeing these chances come up over and over and over and over again. it's really interesting. The one thing about forgiveness, and this can be a really tricky part of this, is that the only really way to start is to tell the damn truth. Tell the damn truth. It's to be able to actually tell yourself the truth about what you're feeling, not about what the situation was, not about what the other person did. Be able to tell the truth about your feeling. You cannot forgive a lie to yourself. You can't. If you are starting with the basis that you are lying to yourself, you cannot forgive it. You have to be able to tell the damn truth about what you're feeling. That can be really hard for people, and it can be really hard for people to be able to then express it to, whether it be to somebody else, whether it be in a journal to yourself, whatever the hell it is. You cannot forgive a lie to yourself. You have to tell the damn truth. And when we feel like we've got to hang on to it, because our egos love this. Our egos love this. We love to remind ourselves and tell ourselves that we deserve it. We love to be able to say, you know, if I hang on to this a little bit more, that other person is gonna suffer. If I let it go, then it validates what they've done, and that is just not true at all. When we feel like we have to hang on to it, we feel sometimes like it will stop it from happening again. We think it's going to stop it from happening, you know, in somebody else's life, maybe stop us from making a mistake again, or whatever. And we have to realize that the cure to this is, number one, is tell the damn truth. Number two, forgive yourself. And number three is take responsibility. Take responsibility. Instead of guilt, say, I get to do it again. I get to do it again different. What do I get to do different? And so many times, and I love this when I'm investigating cases, because I get to see this frequently, is where the negative haunting is reminiscent energetically of whatever that person has not healed. And it gives them the opportunity to clean it up, to do it again different. And this might not be a haunting for you. This might be something else. This might be a situation that feels the same as the situation that you didn't bother to clean up the first time. The universe has an amazing way of bringing us around again and again and again and again to the same energetic things. And this has directly to do with whether or not we have cleaned that energy up. Because whatever we are, however we're being, however we're projecting into the world, really does play a role in the experiences that are drawn to us. And if we are having these experiences where we are, going through this pain, we're stuffing it, we've got a break, it is bleeding, it's bleeding into our environment, and we start to do pain management instead of stopping the bleeding, then this is the result. This is what happens. So we get to do it again. We get to do it different. So the process that I wanted to give you guys today, and as I say, we might do a whole nother class on this because there's so much about forgiveness that we could talk about. The process that I wanted to give you guys today for your journals, for each other, for whatever this is filling in the prompt. I forgive myself for blank. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for. I forgive myself. And Tim is saying, I'm a world-class grudge holder. This is a good message for me to hear, though it always is still tough to put into practice. It really is. It really is. And it really is about realizing that the only thing that you're hanging on to, and this is what changed my mind about forgiveness. This was it. This was the key. What I was hanging on to was stopping me from getting the majority of what non-physical had in store. Was it worth it? And I had to ask myself this question: was it worth it? Was every single time or every single thing that I, as Abraham says, put into my vortex, it's every single thing that I wanted to manifest and have been working on manifesting, and everything that's in the long vision for the future, is it worth? Was whatever they did with their indiscretion, their hurt, their pain, their whatever they inflicted on me, is hanging on to it worth giving up all of that? Because none of what I want is in the vibrational frequency of the things that were done and the transgressions that happened. So you can't have both. What do you want? What do you want? Red pill, blue pill, right? What do you want? Do you want the stuff that you've got all chalked up and ready for you in when you get into that pure positive joy? Or is it worth hanging on to that person's, transgression, their pain, their hurt, their anger at you, whatever it is? Is it worth it? And I quickly came to the conclusion that it sure as hell wasn't. And the other part of this that I learned quite quickly over this situation was their want for me when, I was going through all that crap with them was to not experience joy, because that was the whole point of them, coming after me and doing, doing what they're doing, whatever that is. And I realized their point was for me to not have joy. And by hanging on to it, by not doing the forgiveness work, saying, I forgive myself for hanging on to this, because I've kept myself apart and I've kept in the vibration of exactly what they wanted from me, which was anger and upset and unhappiness. So we have a big decision to make. We have a really, really big decision to make. What do you want to do? Do you want the stuff that you want, or do you want to be hanging on to the pain? It's really what it comes down to. It's a very selfish decision. Forgiveness is a very selfish thing. It really is. You do it for you. It really has nothing to do with anything else. And, when I'm dealing with clients that are struggling with this concept, that really does become what it comes down to is being able to sit down with them and say, look, what do you want this, negative experience in your life? Usually, of course, with clients, it's coming out as some weird, haunting manifestation or whatever. Do you want to continue with this? Or do you want the interaction with non-physical that is fun and joyful and pure positive energy, and to talk to the loved ones that you've missed and you have lost a relationship with because you have been stuck in anger and they are now in pure positive joy? What would you rather have? Because it really has nothing to do with anybody else. So that's that's the process that I wanted to give you guys today. Is I forgive myself for blank. I forgive myself. And then you're going to follow it up with another prompt. And that prompt is, I give myself permission to. I give myself permission. I give myself permission to let this go. I give myself permission to be more of who I am. I give myself permission to not think about this today. I give myself permission to move through my experience and not have negative thoughts about that individual. I give myself permission to put this down. I give myself permission to be free of their judgment of me. I give myself permission. So first one, I forgive myself. I forgive myself from holding myself apart from the joy that is there for me. I forgive myself for not allowing myself to heal and holding myself in that place of negativity, because I just haven't wanted to heal. I forgive myself for leaning maybe too much into my ego, and holding myself apart that way, whatever it is. And it's a really big deal. It's a big deal. Forgiveness it's a tough one. But I wanted to leave you guys with that today so you can work on it. Because as I say, I think we're going to end up with more classes on this one, because there is so much in it. There's so much in it. But this is how we clean. It's how we clean up our life. It really does clean out our experience. It really does. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you get to the point where you kind of want to forgive everybody just because you want to clean shit up. It's really cool. So I wanted to read a little bit from our Faith in the Valley today. Faith in the Valley by Iyanla Vanzant, because there was a passage in here that I thought was so applicable to what we're discussing today. And because this, as I say, this really is about you. So check this out. How nice have you been today? How much stuff have you gifted away? Have you been patient and understanding to someone who's tested your patience? Have you given your all to everything you have done, particularly the things you didn't want to do? Who have you helped today? Have you done all that you promised to do, even after realizing you promised more than what you were able to give? Have you taken a few moments to sit down and collect yourself? Have you done one thing that you feel really good about? How much peace have you known today? How many hugs have you given away? Have you told anyone I love you? Have you done any of these things for you? It's a big question. There's the big one. There's the big one. Have you done those? Have you done it? Have you done it? This isn't about anybody else. Yeah, and everybody's saying this is a forgiveness. We got to do another class. I agree. I think this is tomorrow as well. We keep on this. And I think tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we expand that forgiveness as well, because as I say, there is so much going on in the world right now where this is going to be so key and so important to move through the experiences that we're having, that we're watching on the news, that we're dealing with within our environment. Is how do we do this? How do we take these next steps and move forward into this and into forgiveness, and being able to make peace with some of what is going on, not for the people who are being, nasty and mean and perpetrators and all of these kind of things, but for you, because what we're doing is we are bringing a new energy into the world. We are moving this forward. We're bringing a new energy in, and we can't control what's going on with other people, but we can control the energy that we are moving ourselves forward with, so that we are bringing our best self to what is happening. That's what we can do. That's the most powerful thing that we can do right now, because there's so many people, we're sitting out there, they're feeling helpless, they're watching the news and they're going, what in the hell is going on? And I think we need to, as I say, we need to look at this, we need to understand it, and we're going to turn around, we're going to take this apart bit by bit, and we'll start that tomorrow morning. So that being said, we've got some health affirmations to do, everybody. So everyone take a breath. It is natural for my body to be well. Even if I don't know what to do in order to get better, my body does. I have trillions of cells with individual consciousness, and they know how to achieve individual balance. When this condition began, I didn't know what I know now. I don't need to understand the cause of this illness. I only have to gently and eventually release this illness. It doesn't matter how it got started, because it's reversing its course right now. And there's no hurry about any of this. My body knows what to do. Well-being is natural to me. My inner being is intricately aware of my physical body. My cells are asking for what they need in order to thrive, and Source is answering those requests. I'm in very good hands. My only work is to relax and breathe, and I can do that easily. And everybody take a breath. So that's what we do. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to do more of this work. We're going to do more of this work on forgiveness, understanding, I think, how we can move forward into what is going on, because things over the weekend, you guys, have gone insane. They went crazy this weekend, and there's a lot of people who are in the thick of this right now. I've got a good friend of mine, Richard Estep, who you guys see on Paranormal 911 and Haunted Hospitals. He's a Colorado EMT, and he is on the front lines of all of this right now. So, and he has been working with some really incredible first responders who are doing their best to deal with all of the things that are going on. They've got the pandemic, and now of course they've got all the crazy happening with the rioting and the violence and stuff like that. So there's a lot, but there's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do, and it starts here. It starts with us. It starts with what we're doing in spiritual healthcare. And as we move this ahead, we will start to see some changes. The more people that are working together and doing this work. So please share the playlist. There's a playlist on YouTube of all the spiritual healthcare classes. Please share them, and we'll get this out there. I would love to see some more people coming in and joining us every day. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Spiritual healthcare, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and we keep doing the work. You guys are amazing, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.